Hey guys, Victor here again, coming at you again with another Tearlaments deck profile. And as always, this is going to be a more budget-friendly version. And what I mean by that is that there's not going to be any horrors cards in here. So you don't have to spend $150 to, be able to just mill 4 and hope that it gets you to the game-winning end goal. Now, don't get me wrong, the deck is still a little bit pricey, but compared to what you would have spent on just the horrors engine, it's definitely a more budget-friendly alternative. So with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into the deck profile. Now, as always, we're going to be starting off with the monster lineup. So, of course, you got to be playing 3 Tearlaments Kashtira. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's probably one of, if not the best monsters in the entire deck because it mills 3, then it mills 2 more. It's a 2300 beat stick, plus backed by the planet, it becomes 2800. It's a level 7, so if you're playing Synchron monsters like I am, it becomes very easy to go with something like Destrudo, for example, into a Baronne as long as you have another level 4 on the field. It pretty much does everything that you wanted to do in the deck. But yeah, you have to play 3 of it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then something that I was previously talking about in like previous tier deck profiles where I'm always going back and forth on if you want to play 1, 2, or 3 is Tearlaments Reinoheart. No more indecision. You have to play 3 now just because we don't have Kelbeck or Guido, which means that we can't just, mill one of those and hit the lottery by milling 5 more. You pretty much have to rely on Reinoheart to be able to send cards in order to actually get your engine going, because a lot of the times, depending on your hand, you'll go Reinoheart, normal, or special effect, send Tearlaments Kashtira, mill 2, and hopefully those 2 cards can get you there or get you where you need to be. And then since we're playing 3 Tearlaments Reinohearts, that means we are playing the Bahamut Shark Totally Awesome package. You just pretty much have to when you max out on this card, and if you want to play tier in the current metagame, you have to play 3 of it. Then for the 1-ofs, because they're limited, you have the 1 havnis, the 1 merrli, and the 1 Scheiren. Pretty straightforward. They're only allowed at 1, so you have to play the ones. And they're limited for a good reason, the cards are good. And then that's it for the Tearlaments lineup, or so it would seem, except we're going to be playing 2 Kashtira Fenrir. Even though it's not a Tearlaments monster, it's basically a Tearlaments in name because it will be able to search out your Tearlaments Kashtira. And it's just a very imposing body to have on the field because whether you're banishing cards face down, getting your engine back up, it's a 2400 beat stick. It's also fodder for your Tearlaments Kashtira, so you can banish this to special summon that. It just does so much. And much like Tearlaments Kashtira, it's also a level 7, which helps you out with Revolution Synchron. As I've always mentioned, if you've ever watched any of these deck profiles, I absolutely love Revolution Synchron just because it does so many cool things for this deck. It gives you access to Visas Amritara. You can normal summon it to synchro with your level 7s like Kashtira Fenrir. Like I've always mentioned this play where you go special Fenrir, add tier cash, normal Rev Synchron, synchro for Baronne, and then you guarantee that you're going to be getting 4 mills, right? Because you're going to special summon your Tearlaments Kashtira to mill 3, and the Revolution Synchron can bring itself back to mill 1, and things just spiral out of hand very fast when this card is pretty much involved any single time. And yeah, it's just a really cool card. I think it's really underappreciated in the current metagame. Then for the Destiny Hero package, you still have the 2 Destiny Hero Malicious because Beatrice is a good card, and then to go with those, you have the 1 Destiny Hero Denier to recycle your Malicious. Not much to say. The engine's good. It's a little bricky sometimes, but that's just the way that you have to play the deck now because, let's face it, like I said, no Kelbeck, no Guido, so you have to take more risk in order to actually get your plays to resolve. But if you really want to, Denier is honestly cuttable, but you have to be a lot more smarter with your Malicious instead of just being able to have like free fodder for your link plays or whatever. But that's neither here or there. It's honestly up to you at the end of the day if you want to play it or not. Then you have your Shizu Shufflers being the 1 Keldo and the 1 Mudora. Good cards are good. A lot of decks still revolve around the graveyard, so if you can get this into the grave, you're just going to be in a really good position. Then we do play Dangers, with the first one being Danger Nessie. It's okay. I honestly, as I've said before on this channel, I'm not the biggest fan of Danger Monster just because I hate the RNG mechanic from your hand. I'm okay with milling, but having to pretty much pray that your opponent misses it in order for you to get the max value is kind of... It's just, I don't enjoy that gameplay. But even so, it's still a really good fusion target because it's a dark aqua, so you can make Kaleidoheart, you can make Garura, the potential is there. And then you also have the 1 Mothman, a little bit better than Danger Nessie because you can at least make it so that you only have 2 cards in hand, with this one being one of them, and then you can guarantee that the other card is going to be discarded. So yeah, definitely better than Nessie, and it's a dark also, so you can fuse it into Mud Dragon to help make your Bahamut Shark Toad plays a lot more easy. And then for the final monster, you just play the 1 Destrudo, the Lost Dragon's Frisian. This card does everything. It's link fodder, it's exceed fodder, it's synchro fodder. It's just good. It's just a good card. Sure, you pay half your life points, so if you're getting close to time, you should probably be citing this out. But outside of that, it just it helps you extend your play so much farther, right? Because you can do so many cool things. If you bring back Revolution Synchron, for example, you just copy that, Destrudo becomes a 6, then you can overlay with Mallie. If you have a level 4 monster, you can target that with Destrudo, and then you can synchro with your 7s, such as Fenrir or Tearcash. It does so much. And even with the other extra deck monsters. So you saw that I'm playing Revolution Synchron, right? So that means that I'm playing Ancient Fairy Dragon. And as a result, if you have a Rev Synchron and a Destrudo engrave, for example, and it's just like any level 6 or lower monster, you can go Destrudo, target that monster, Synchro for Ancient Fairy, Revolution's Graveyard effect will activate then to bring itself back as a level 1, then you Synchro for Visas Amritara, then you can add like your Prrimeval Planet Perlereino or your Tearlaments Scream. Point is, this card is insane, and you should pretty much always auto-include this in your Tearlament deck because it just does that much. And with that, that's the monster lineup, and now we can finally move on to the spell and trap portion of the deck. Now for the spell and trap portion of the deck, we're of course going to be starting off with the 3 Prrimeval Planet Perlereino. It literally gives you access to your entire engine because it adds a Tearlament monster, it boosts your Tearlament monsters and your fusions by 500 attack, it pops cards, you pretty much want to have access to this as soon as possible. And I know I say that, but we're not going to be playing Terraforming just because Drone Lockbird is a card in this format, and you want to be as resilient to that. Plus, it's pretty easy to get access to this to begin with, so you don't really need to rely on something like Terraforming to get it in the first place. But yeah, Prrimeval Planet, 3 of, staple, easy, easy, easy. And now another card that's probably like on people's radars, but they never know if they want to play 2 or 3 is Tearlaments Scream. With 3 Reinoheart, I feel like 3 Scream is just mandatory because even if your hands are weak, right, and you go activate Scream, normal Reinoheart, and all 4 or 5 of your mills miss, it's perfectly fine because on your opponent's turn, you're going to be able to try again and mill 3 more, and then you lower their guys' attacks by 500, and a lot of the times I can just get you there. So yeah, this is probably one of the most important cards in addition to cards like Tearlaments Kashtira to try and open up with or just search as soon as possible. But yeah, I really enjoyed 3 Tearlaments Scream, and then we're going to be playing 3 Super Polys. So Tier as a deck can't play hand traps, so as a result you have to rely on cards that board break, and Super Poly is probably the best one just because it helps you get rid of cards in your hand through discarding. So that means you can get rid of Destiny Hero Malicious, your Shufflers, your Trivikarmas, you know, just fodder in the graveyard that can help you extend your plays even further. And a lot of the decks, even though they do float a lot, a well-timed Super Poly can definitely help you just turn the tides of the game and win the game straight up. So I definitely feel like Super Poly should be played at 3, but you can make arguments for other cards like Forbidden Droplet, for example, which I think is another phenomenal card because a lot of players invest all their resources into the board, or even decks like Voiceless Voice, right? If you Super Poly them, they'll just get their resources back because they always have the Saphira and the Ritual Spell Engrave. But if you Droplet them, all that you really have to deal with is their Pop Trap, and I don't know about you, but Tearlaments actually enjoy getting their cards destroyed in a lot of situations. So yeah, it may be just perfectly fine for you, but it's honestly up to you if you want to play Droplet or Super Poly. They're both super good at what they do. Then for 2 ofs, there's only one spell that we play 2 of, and it's Triple Tactics Talent. Card's good. There's a lot of hand traps right now, so if you get hit by something, you just loop your opponent's hand, and then you can continue comboing off without fear. So yeah, I really like this card. And then we just play a bunch of 1-of spells. So you play the 1 Foolish Burial, the 1 Foolish Burial Goods, the 1 Called by the Grave, the 1 Tearlaments Grief, and then for the final spell, we play the 1 Instant Fusion, which is a card that I actually really, really enjoy. So sure, we can't go Instant Fusion summon Kit Colossus anymore, but we can go Instant Fusion summon Mud Dragon, which is almost as good in certain situations, because 1, if you have a Reinoheart, that provides you with the extra water to be able to special summon your Bahamut and then go into Toad. If you just want to prevent your opponent from dropping something like an Infinite Impermanence or an Effect Veiler, you just summon out the Mud Dragon first, and then they can't target your cards. If you have Revolution Synchron in hand, but you don't have a level 4, you special summon the Mud Dragon, then you climb up to your Synchro 7 with your Ancient Fairy Dragon, bring it back, go for Visas. Point is, this card is very versatile, and it pretty much just allows you to extend into just a lot of plays that you normally otherwise wouldn't be able to. So I really enjoy this card at 1. Like, sure, it's a sack, but it's a really good one. And then that's it for the spells, but we do play a couple traps, just being the 2 Tearlaments sulliek, Monster Negate, and then it searches a monster if it's sent to the graveyard, and the 1 Trivikarma to search out any single Tearlament spell or trap. And with that, that's the spell and trap lineup, and now we can move on to the extra deck. Now, the extra deck is super tight, which means that you have to choose all your cards very carefully, and that's especially true because of the fact that we play Super Poly, we play Synchros, we play Exceeds, we play Links, we play all that good stuff. So as a result, we're going to be playing the one Ancient Fairy Dragon. This is to help ensure that your Revolution Synchron is actually good and can make more plays, which gets you in turn to your Visas Amritara, which, much like Trivikarma, gets you access to every single Tearlaments spell and trap card. And because it's treated as Visas Starfrost, that means it also triggers them. So if your hand is pretty mediocre, you can just go Visas Amritara, search Tearlaments Scream, activate Scream, and then when your opponent summons a monster, Scream will activate to mill 3, and hopefully it's enough to get you there. And then the only other synchro monster we play is the one Baronne de Fleur, which is pretty good. You know, Omni Negate, pops, can bring something back from the graveyard during the standby phase. And then that's it for the synchro monsters. For the exceeds, we're still playing the one Time Thief Redoer. This is probably the biggest flex spot. So if there's something that you really want to play, like an IP Masquerena or Typhon, you know, things of that nature, this is probably the card to cut. But I just really like the fact that you can use it to continuously steal resources from your opponent and trigger cards like your Tearlaments Reinoheart or Tearlaments Scheiren, depending on what you use as material. So yeah, one Time Thief Redoer, but like I said, it's easily the most cuttable card. And you have the Bahamut Shark, which summons out Totally Awesome, which is another Omni Negate that you can typically pair with Baronne de Fleur pretty easily. And in a lot of situations, having those two Omni Negates plus something like Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal, can just end up sealing in the game because you have the two Omni Negates, you have Beatrice sending whatever card you may need in the situation. You're typically backed by like a Scream and a Trap, and it just gets out of hand really fast for your opponent. For links, we're only playing 2, so we're playing the one Cross Sheep, to bring back key resources because it's very, very easy to get cards in the graveyard and bring them back with a fusion while it's pointing to it, such as like Revolution Synchron or Tearlaments Reinoheart, you know, things of that nature. And the one SP Little Knight, I want to make room for IP Masquerena, but like I said, the only card that I would probably cut is just Time Thief Redoer, just because ending on IP is definitely better than ending on SP, because then you can at least banish a card during your opponent's turn instead of just leaving it there to get attacked for free, basically. But yeah, it's honestly up to you. And then that's it for the links, and then we just play a bunch of fusions. You play the one Destiny Hero Dangerous for the instant access to your Beatrice plays. You play your Super Poly targets, so you play one Mud Dragon of the Swamp, one Garura Wings of Resonant Life, one Predaplant Dragos Stapelia, and then for the final Super Poly target, I'm constantly going back and forth if I want to play Dragonite Draco Quest, or if I want to play Earth Golem at Ignister, with both of them being pretty cool cards, I guess. But I ultimately opted to play the Earth Golem at Ignister just because when looking at the fire end board, right, the most common ones that they have are usually Appaloosa IP Masquerena or Sunlight Wolf IP Masquerena. So as a result, those two monsters or those 3 monsters are all Cyberse monsters. You can Super Poly into Earth Golem at Ignister and just completely ruin their day because you got rid of their 2 most powerful link monsters, being the Appo and the IP. Sure, you still have to deal with like Promethean Princess and Flamberge, but just getting rid of those key threats can go a long way and straight up win you to the game. And then for some reason, this card also like gains the attack of an extra deck monster that it attacks, so it'll always like beat over something threatening, like a Towers, for example. The turn that it's summoned, you take no battle damage, so if you get hit by Droll, you just set your Super Poly. When they overcommit into their Cyberse engine, you flip it, and then you get another turn to try and play the game, even if they do like make a giant board. This card is like, just honestly, it's pretty resourceful and pretty weird, but I like it. And then for the final card, of course, you have your Kaleido, your Tearlaments Kaleidoheart, which it does a lot for the deck. You know, when it's sent to the grave by card effect, it foolishes a tier card, and then it special summons itself. When this card is special summoned, or if an Aqua monster gets milled, it shuffles a card. It can't be used as like fusion material, so they can't even Super Poly it away or do anything like that. The card is just really, really good. And with that, that's the Tearlaments deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!